Todos, ¿cómo están? Estamos aquí desde el FutureX, un evento espectacular en el cual estamos prediciendo qué se viene en el futuro. I am here with Amanda. Thanks, Amanda, for being with us.
Oh,
For
thank
us,
you.
it's a real pleasure to have you here. Amanda, your presentation was amazing. I was hearing about exponential thinking. To the people who doesn't know what that means, how can you explain to them like really like easily what's exponential thinking?
Exponential thinking is really the idea that we can't expect tomorrow to look like today. And we should be prepared for technological progress in particular to just move faster and faster and faster than we naturally expect it to.
And you talk about like the mindset, how we have to change the mindset to because it's a state of mind. We have to like think about the future and the things, the problem all right now goes like super fast. So we have to adapt and try to solve them and use the technology to reach that. So we have to change the approach of the problem. Of how would you say that?
Yeah, I think, well, it's impossible to stay up to date on all of the changes happening in technology right now. It's harder than it ever has been. And so rather than trying to stay on top of every new AI tool or every AI feature, it's important to understand what's happening beneath all of that to be able to get a better sense of where technology might go first. And that's what Singularity is really trying to teach, is understanding what's happening with computing, what's happening with data to make
Yeah.
all of these tools happen right now.
You talk also about Moore's law, like how that changed because Moore's law is about like and you have to improve every 2 years more. I know that's why the probably the cell phones right now are 20 times better and stronger than before, but now you have to improve like every year, every month, and you have to keep on tracking so you can when the wave, like you talk about the wave come, you will be upside and you can take advantage of the situations.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you think you can apply that, or how you can transmit that with in your company, for example, in the people you work with, how you can try to change their mindset to start improving and start thinking like that?
I think, it's important to take the time and to force yourself to that uncomfortable place where you're thinking about, you know, 10, 20, 30 years in the future, which is not natural instinct for any of us. And it might feel a little silly. It's okay to have fun with it. But once you start to envision what that future could be, the wildest, craziest things you can think about, then you can say, well, what should we do today? And it's important to bring it back to some kind of action to take right now to prepare so you're not just totally living way out in the future. But as long as you have a vision that inspires you to take action now, even if your vision doesn't come true, you will still be further along and ready for whatever does come true.
And because of course you have to worry about like the present and you have to be prepared for the future and how will that happen. And what do you recommend? You have to have like several teams or try to delegate the things. Okay, I will worry about the future, and you start worrying because without the present, we don't exist. Is there a recurrent revenue, a recurrent like, is a business ongoing? And so to worry about the future, how do you organize that in a company, for example?
Well, I do think it's important to have a small team or group of people who are every day thinking about the future, because it can't be everybody's
Yeah.
job to think about the future all day. But it's just as important that the people on that team know how to bring the rest of the organization along with them and to be able to tell a story about why what they're doing is exciting. So you have to have a little bit of both for it. So the small team isn't out on an island for this all to work. But making sure you have a dedicated focus on things that may or may not have revenue
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, of course.
You have to be able to experiment and learn so that you figure out, how do you productize this at one point.
Amanda, for you, what's the most common mistake that companies thinks when we are talking about like the linear future? Like they are not thinking about like improvement or innovation. So what's the common mistake they make?
I think a common mistake is to dismiss what feels like a crazy idea and to say, well, that's never going to happen. So then they don't prepare for it. And then inevitably something disruptive does happen and they're caught off guard, but probably they had a chance in the past to make a different choice. I think that's a big one.
Yes, that's for sure. And about like the present, like we heard about right now, like companies that are thinking about the future, thinking like exponential thinking, like how can we grow that, try to change the mindset, but they actually don't do that. Like they just say they are not like applying. And do you think they are like using for I don't know marketing, or is the new like branding the present, or what do you think about that?
I think a lot of companies do that. We think about it as innovation theater. It looks
Yeah.
like we're doing all of these things.
Because right now it's everything about innovation. And
Yes.
it's like, are you really innovating or just saying you are?
But I think that when companies operate that way, the people inside the company feel that.
Okay.
And they're not going to be as inspired to make change happen. So I think it's important, like that from the top leadership of the company, that they're demonstrating a real commitment to innovation, and so that everybody else in the company knows it's important to support and try new things, and it's okay if they don't work. That's also a big one.
Amanda, one last tip or suggestion you can bring to like CEOs or like entrepreneurs to start innovate, like in the small way, or try to like figure out like a process. What can you say?
I would say the first thing is to use the tools yourself. Don't just delegate it all to your team, but actually get in that uncomfortable place of trying something you've never done before. And you'll learn so much that helps you be a better leader and to really champion innovation if you show that you're also willing to make a mistake or try something new and you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Great. Amanda, thank you for your time. Thanks for being with us. And for us, it's like an honor to have you here and hear your presentation. And just thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Continuamos en el FutureX, estamos continuando, hay 6 o 5 speakers más, entonces estamos presentes.